magnificent gift you gave with that film. Call me." Then he left his personal number. His thanks were not required. The film, The Song of Leonard Cohen, had been one of the creative pleasures of my life, an attempt to blend his poetry and his passion with my own. I do not watch it often because his sound haunts me, and it takes days, if not weeks, before I am free of it, if ever. If there was anything surprising about the call, and I am seldom surprised, is that the film has been finished 20 years earlier, and he and I had viewed it together in a Toronto studio one late August afternoon. 20 years and counting. I tried to reach him and left my home number. Another call came. This time he said, "Harry, I missed a couple digits of your number. Call again. My hearing isn't what it used to be." I started to become somewhat neurotic, I think, about the CBC. The once almost great network, which had been home to my satisfying work and the work of others, had become kidnapped by middle managers who show little possibility for taste. What is worse, films such as the one I made with Leonard had become entuned by bureaucratic thinking, making it virtually impossible to share them with a public craving quality. Wintry thinking was strangling them. So the call became even more important somehow. I responded, speaking slowly and loudly but lovingly. He called again, spoke to my wife Arlene, who has always been shy in his presence. Finally, after a week, we connected. You see, what I feel about Leonard is that he has become much a myth as a man. He is the best poet, or seems to be, the poet we wish we all had the courage to become. We have tracked him as we would Keats or Shelley, enjoying the reported sightings. Leonard in Tennessee, Leonard up the mountain, Mount Baldy in California. Lately, Leonard in India. Leonard universal sex symbol, Leonard monk and spiritual source. I sometimes think that Leonard is like Cary Grant, who in his prime said, "Yes, we would all like to be Cary Grant. I wish I were." Over the years I have often thought of him, called him when in Montreal, spoken with him when that was possible, but I have never felt it was necessary to have constant contacts. It's something like the sparrows which live in the caves near my chimney. I rejoice when I hear them in the morning, and I delight in them when they show themselves. But I know I could never catch one or want to. But they are my sparrows, and I am their friend. I am Leonard's friend, I think. But he needs to be free, of course. He has written about it often and sung its praise. Like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir, I have tried in my way to be free. And that is how I first found him, all those years ago. It was, as I recall, in 1962. Imagine, almost 40 years ago. Let's start, then, on the sun-parched island of Hydra in Greece. I can never forget it. Hydra and the island of the mind. Anything that moves is white, a gull, a wave, a sail, and moves too purely to be aped. Smash the pain. It was that time of our lives. We were what is called in Yiddish buchers, young bucks, first apart and briefly together. For me it was a time of total adventure. For Leonard, a sampling of the delights that life could offer, usually centered around a starkly beautiful, sad, smiling young woman. He was a poet in development, always passion and pain, limited by the words to express the ecstasy and the agony. No music yet, to suffer along with the suffering. I was returning from a remarkable adventure in Africa, my second time round. My first tour included all of Africa south of the Sahara. Now I had returned to the magic mountain kingdom of Ethiopia. I still have the telephone book that covered the entire sheltered feudal nation. These are some of its listings. H.I.M. the Empress, Imperial Palace, Representative, Steward, Cashier. H.I.H. the Crown Prince, Palace, Palace Direct Line. H.R.H. the Duke of Harar. Do not try to call now. They are all either assassinated or in hiding. Ethiopia at that time looked so much like the land the world forgot. Tucked away on a high plateau, it was the country the explorers chose to ignore, too difficult to conquer in the conquistador days of colonialism. If the Bible was being relived,